Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome to the day 2 of the 20 by 20 Wellbeing Challenge. It's great to see you here. Your host Shamil Fazaldeen.
And I'm Shazia Laving. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for joining us today for once again another exciting session.
Yes, yesterday I think was a real good treat.
Yes,
One of those messages, people saying that we've never heard Brother Hussein before, we need to have it more.
absolutely.
So inshallah, watch this space for some more. But let me tell you this, that I think the people are in for a big surprise for the next 20 days. Don't you think so?
I really think so. I mean, the kind of speakers that we have brought, no one can see.
It's a
And
whole
it's
different
amazing.
level.
It's on a different level because it's season 2, and we have promised to give them double the excitement, double the learning, and double the healing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Before we go forward, for all those people who want to reach out, please know that we have an email address that is strictly confidential. Please reach out for any issues you may have. The email address is bewell@ksimcdubai.com. We also have a WhatsApp number if you would like to connect on WhatsApp, and that number is 04-398-2121. So, Sister Shazia,
Yes,
today we have someone special.
we sure do.
And that special is not just special in the sense that it's online. How is it? Tell our audience.
Okay, so basically, we have our second speaker, and he's going to be in the studio. So that's a different experience in itself. And let's have his profile up so I can introduce him. Yes, we have Brother Zainali Panjwani. Brother Zainali is an osteopath, naturopath, and lifestyle medicine practitioner and has been practicing for over 10 years. His interest and love for sports initially took him into elite athletics, dealing with some of the UK's top 100-meter sprinters and long jumpers. He founded his own clinic in the UK where he treated a variety of people from sports to chronic pain and autoimmune conditions. The knowledge he has built up has allowed him to assess and treat according to your functional goals and abilities, utilizing active movement therapy, 3D movement assessments, and functional exercising. Most recently, he has embarked on the Institute of Functional Medicine and program beginning with the AFMCP course. This avenue has broadened his understanding of the integrated systems of our human body. It has deepened his osteopathic treatment to be able to address chronic disease and pain using nutrition and lifestyle changes. Zainali continues to learn, teach, and educate himself in order to better serve others. And he is also part of our Dubai Wellbeing team. So please welcome Brother Zainali.
Thank you so much for that introduction. It's amazing to be here. And if there's any UK audience, I'm sure they're going to be saying, "Where are you?
Where are you?"
They've left
Yeah.
us." They're going to come back. But inshallah, we're going to start Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim with this topic, which we're going to hone into, which is movement or fitness and the collaboration of fitness and well-being. This two-way street between the two. And it's actually an area that I love to focus on. So I'm glad you gave me the topic. I don't think I had a suggestion for the topic.
You
but-
were the right person
Yeah.
for this.
You
I'm
were
glad,
perfect
I'm
for
glad
it.
because movement a lot of the times is focused on joints and muscle tissues.
Right.
And what I want to do today in this next 10-15 minutes or so is to give a better understanding for the audience, for myself as well, of the interlink between fitness, movement, exercise, and well-being as a whole, rather than just, oh, I need to stretch or I need to move, which is what normally people think about when they think about exercise as a
Right.
whole. So I'm going to touch upon 4 points, and please jump in. Like I said before, it's nice to be interactive, I think, for the audience as well.
Yes.
It's like a normal audience out there. You guys
Yeah.
are, I'm the practitioner, and you guys are the audience kind of thing.
Like I
Right?
said at
Yeah.
the start,
So-
Zainali, off there, that we are here to learn from you.
And I'm
We
here
get
to learn
the
from you.
opportunity to sit down with you.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Inshallah.
So, and all this information is actually quite obvious, but when you put that into perspective of some of the science and some of the way we live our life, you get an appreciation of how much importance movement has had in our world from ancient times all the way to today. Before, we used to be crawling over rock branches and jumping over rocks and hunting, and today we've got paddle and other sports, right? But ultimately, movement is part of us as human nature. So I want to touch upon a few points. Let's start with how fitness, movement, exercise, sports, I'm going to use all of those words interchangeably, decreases stress. Okay, so mental health, big topic, mental well-being, big topic, part of that well-being structure. It's not all of it, it's only part of that. And that mental health is very important. And we miss movement and exercise when it comes to mental health. A lot of talking, a lot of psychotherapy, looking at purpose of life, looking at how your heart feels, spiritual life. We talk about all these things. We talk about nutrition quite a lot. And sometimes I feel we miss movement and exercise, how important it is to have a daily movement practice. And there's so much information on this, how it improves endorphins in the body, how it acts as neurochemicals in your brain that help with all the depressive thoughts and anxieties. It actually helps as a coping behavior. One of the research papers, as I was coming in, I was reading, movement helps with your coping mechanisms, your resilience, and building better resilience in your body as well. If you think about people who exercise regularly, they do have this nature in them where they overcome the pain sometimes of the exercise and overcome that barrier, especially people who run long distances and do like these big events. They tend to find resilience in exercise. And it's important to understand that it doesn't have to be complicated. And I'll touch upon this in a minute. It can be simple things that build up your resilience. And I keep using that word because once you get up in the morning and overcome that barrier of the bed, or you take yourself out for a walk, or this evening we try to get to the paddle court and play with everyone. Right? Once you get over that barrier, the first hurdle, you start to realize the benefits from a stress and anxiety perspective.
Right here, Zainali, let me just ask you a quick question. Yesterday we had Brother Hussein telling us that when you get out of bed, talk to Allah, speak to Him. And then, yes, those who are stressed, when we get out of bed, after we've done our salah and everything, as you said, go and do exercise. What are those movements that help us remove the stress?
I'm going to come to those.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to come to those, but also I want to simplify it. Yeah, because everyone thinks they need to go to the gym, or they need to go to a sport, or they need to have other people around them. But I'm going to simplify what you can do and how simple it is. Right? I want to jump. Hold it. Okay, I'm going to jump onto the next side. So it also improves digestion. So when we look at nutrition and building up your body from a nutrient perspective and breaking down all those things in the digestive tract, there's a muscle here. It's called the diaphragm. Sits underneath your rib cage. Okay. When we sit like this all day, and I'm literally gonna show you this way so you can actually see. We sit like this all day on our phones, on our laptops. All of this is compressed. Okay, so you think, oh, I've got bloating, I've got constipation, I'm not digesting things properly. You get up and move. What happens is the diaphragm expands and it acts as like a massager of your intestines. Helps with motility, all those are feeling constipated. It helps with getting rid of stuff, toxins in the body. And I always give this analogy. If there are loads of rubbish in that bin over there and you don't throw the rubbish out, just keep piling it up, what's going to happen? Eventually it pours over. Eventually it stinks up the room. Your body is no different. Toxins will build up if they don't come out, and then you start getting other issues down the line. And simple movement, fitness, exercise, sport, again, using interchangeably, can improve the diaphragm, can just literally open you up. So this area becomes more of a massager for your intestines. You get good motility. And I circle back to your point about which exercises to use in a minute. So let's keep that going, okay? So we got stress, decreases stress. A lot of research based on that. Improves digestion, improves the motility. And if it improves the motility, what I mean by that is movement through the intestines. It also improves nutritional uptake as well. So you don't just eat food and it gets stuck and sluggish and doesn't move through the system. It goes through and it absorbs better just by moving.
I think that's why they say after you eat, it's always good to go for a walk or,
Yeah, not immediately.
Not immediately.
Okay. Give yourself some time. But yes, 100% to just help with digestion. How we say that? We say, I'll go for a walk.
It helps with
my digestion.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's really important because it helps the diaphragm.
Yeah.
And the diaphragm is a very important aspect of the body. So let's keep going because I want to touch on all these 4 points. Okay. The next part is actually increases mobility, mobility of the body. we talk about stretching. Stretching is essentially one bone and one bone, muscle in between. Moving one bone away from the other is stretching. Okay, but the body is not nuts and bolts. It doesn't move one part and then the other part and then the other part. It's an interconnected body. Literally, I remember when I was studying, they used to go take us into dissection, and the teacher used to pull the Achilles tendon, which is the back of your heel, and the head used to move. And then he would show us the path of how everything connects from the Achilles into the back of the knee, into the hip, through the spine, all the way up into your head. And many people who have things like arthritic changes and wear and tear situations, they feel like if they move, it's going to cause more of a problem. I don't compress your body. So listen to my language. I'm not compressing the body, but by lubricating the body, you increase the fluid in the area. You allow the body to be more mobile, and the muscles actually act as hormones. You know that they release chemicals that help with balancing your body, muscles. And the way I learned it is they're like cupboards in your house. Your cupboard. If you have small cupboards packed with stuff, as soon as you open it, everything just floods out, right? That doesn't create balance. But if you have a larger muscle capacity, if you have a larger joint mobility range, then it's like having a big cupboard with all of your storage of your hormones and chemicals and all the other stuff that goes in there, but they're all in their specific compartments. Now, when you open it, you think, you know what, I need a little bit of glucagon, which gives me better glucose because my insulin levels are spiking. Knock, knock, diabetes. Knock, knock, insulin resistance. Muscles, right? Very important for our wellness. If we have all this spiking going on, it affects our mood. We get brain fog and these kind of things. So having better muscle capacity, better mobility as a whole can improve all of these systems. And I'm only touching on things. Yeah, I'm just trying to share how important this whole connected body is and how everything interconnects with each other. Right?
So you touched on motility.
Motility, gut, stress. Yeah, and then now mobility. Yeah, having the ability to have a good connected body. Again, going back to this position, which we now in modern day we tend to be in, right?
So movement helps the muscles expand in a way that you can take in more.
And also create more balance.
Healthily.
More balance. You don't get that stiffness in the morning. That affects everything. You feel in osteopathic principles, we have a very good principle, which is structure governs function and function governs structure. And essentially what that means is if your structure is like this, it's going to govern how your body functions with your brain, with your diaphragm, with everything else that's going on. And vice versa, if you have a kidney issue, for example, or if your liver is overworking, it will affect your structure. A lot of the time I see patients when I'm seeing their posture, if they have a liver history, then I see them slanted like this. Yeah? If they have a gut, like digestive issue, they're all crunched up like this in their posture. Again, if they're scared or worried or they have fear, they crunch up these areas here, which is important for blood flow to the brain. Right? So you can imagine how your structure is governs how you function, and how your function is governs how you structure. Right? So movement in all of these aspects.
I had a question about the fact that people who have an increased amount of anxiety or stress, and it really affects this specific muscle. You feel like it's being pulled, and this has been scientifically proven that it affects the shoulder and the neck, the stiffness. How do you deal with that? Does movement help with dealing with that?
100%. It's all to do with the breathing mechanisms of the body. So you have secondary muscles for breathing. It's the one called the scalenes. And you guys who are watching as well can just Google it. You're right, scalenes. SCALENES. And just look at Google Images. And it'll give you so many different pictures of how this muscle in particular is attached to your neck and attaches to the first and second rib. Okay, and these are secondary muscles for when you're running away from a lion or you're scared. You need to use it to get enough oxygen very fast into the body. And the problem is we are living in a sympathetic system, which is a fight or flight system. So we overuse this particular muscle group because we're breathing into here, and we underuse the diaphragm that we're talking about. We underuse that. That's why you always hear belly breathing, right? It's just because we're not using it enough and we're always up here. So that's why people feel this tension because they're overusing their secondary respiratory muscles instead of their primary one, which is here. And this is all to do with stress. Because stress increases that. And when I do the exercises, which are very specific to that as well.
Yeah.
We'll talk about how we can actually deal with that
Mm.
tension. It's actually about breathing here, not in here.
Okay.
So just to go back, okay, we've got stress, decreases stress. We've got motility of the gut. We've got mobility, okay? And the last one is sleep quality. Sleep quality. Okay, maybe not the number of hours, but sleep quality. This is very important because nowadays we're lacking with the quality of our sleep. And I used to battle with this all the time. From an Islamic perspective, we always talk about, oh, you can sleep for a number of hours, shorter hours in the middle of the night. And now from a science perspective, we say 7-8 hours, right? However, it's quality, not necessarily quantity. Quantity is important, but how good you sleep is really the key. And movement has shown to balance what we call homeostasis of the body, the balance system of the body, so that you can have a rhythm in your life. And that's linked to your circadian rhythm, which is your sleep rhythm. Okay. So if you've got good rhythm to your life, your sleep also has good rhythm. And it's to do with a particular cortisol and melatonin. I don't want to get too scientific, but when you wake up in the morning, you get cortisol spike. You know cortisol, right?
Yes,
The
yes.
adrenaline and the fight. or flight.
The hormones that you get.
Yes, you get this spike of cortisol.
Yeah.
And then in the night, you have to have a melatonin spike, a cortisol drop. So that gives you that feeling of, that's why it's dark. Melatonin is really dark night. And so you feel a bit drowsy, you feel sleepy and all the rest of it. The problem with our cycles are, we're getting like little cortisol in the morning and a sudden spike in the afternoon. And then for some reason it's going up in the night, for example, when it's supposed to go down, right? Exercise, especially in the early hours of the morning, will help you to bring the cortisol levels up so that they naturally drop in the middle of afternoon and they get up a little bit mid-afternoon. And then again, they drop again during the night. And if they're low during the night, your sleep quality is improved a lot. Which actually, by the way, is a good point here, not to really exercise too late at night. Yeah, it's too late sometimes. You need to change the timing. But it's important to, if you've got poor sleep, if you want better sleep, try and get those early hours of the morning, if possible. And that will really enhance that rhythm of your cycle.
Mhm.
So it's quite important.
Someone who's going through a lot in life. We've heard of so many cases, so many people who are struggling mentally.
Yeah.
They just don't have the energy to stand up and go up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you get that person out? How does that person change their mindset to go out?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because this is ultimately the key. All of us, even if we're not feeling stressed and anxiety, it's just how do we get started? How do we make a commitment? How do we stay consistent? How many times you hear, I'm going to do, January comes, New Year's resolution,
Yeah.
I'm going to stick to the gym,
Yeah.
and I'm going to stick to it. And then after a month, they break away and the exercise goes away as well. And a lot of the time we used to battle with this. Is it just about starting? Is it just about finding a buddy? Is it finding a community that gets you driven? And ultimately, for me, and from habit books that sometimes I read, there's a good one, Atomic Habits, which you might have read before.
Yes,
It's a really
I
good
have
one.
heard about them.
It's two things. It's an internal realization that you are someone who moves, right? So if you want to stop smoking, for example, if you say, yeah, I've quit smoking, it's different to saying, I'm no longer a smoker. I quit smoking means that potentially you can restart. Okay, quit, restart. If you don't identify yourself as a smoker in the first place, then you're saying that I am no longer a smoker, right? If you tell yourself that I am an active person, and even you can make every morning, you can say, I'm an active person, I'm an active person. And you give these affirmations, positive affirmations, you will naturally become more of an active person. It's just natural. Your thoughts will automatically drive your actions, and it's quite powerful.
So you do think that positive affirmations have a huge impact
Yeah,
on
100%.
how you? Yeah.
I think a lot of this is an internal battle.
Yeah.
I'm going through it right now. We all go through it. It's an internal battle. And writing it down, so there's a sneak peek to the questions, but writing a committed answer to yourself, saying, I will, in the next week, do 10,000 steps every single day, 5,000 steps. Committed goal, doesn't matter what it is. Even if it's 1,000 steps, just commit. Because our problem is consistency, right? So if you tell, it's an internal battle, I am going to commit to this and get to the end. Ramadan comes, we commit. 30 days. How come it's so easy to commit? It is easy to commit if you make a commitment. 30 days, I will fast from sunrise to sunset. And I struggle with this all the time. So I'm putting my hands up right now, but I realize that everyone's going through the same battle. And so if, for example, you've got anxiety, feeling really down, very difficult to move, and you just commit to something. You say, okay, you know what? I want to get out of this. That's the first step, right? I want to get out. I want to become a mover. I want to become an active person. You've got that first step. Now you take that forward. I am an active person. I'm going to commit to going for a walk with someone in my family every morning for 10 minutes for the next week. Okay?
So you're trying to say that everyone should commit to being here for 20 days.
Everyone should commit to being here for 20 days because, that's what you've done as well. You committed being. You said you're a speaker. No, you have to commit. I want everyone in the speakers group. You commit 20 days, be here because we're all in this together. Right? And the movement piece, I'm sorry, going around in a circle, but the movement piece is really about looking at it from this holistic, integrative way. And then it gives you motivation as well, because suddenly you realize, wait a minute, it's not just about joining some muscles or about going to the gym and pumping. Actually, movement helps me with my memory and focus. Movement helps me with my sleep. It helps me digest. It helps my stress levels. And you build this whole picture.
So yeah, again, let me just ask something. So we have different stages of good sleep, quality sleep.
Yeah.
There's the deep sleep.
The REM sleep, the REM cycle, yes.
So exercise, you're saying, in the morning will get us into the REM sleep?
It can. Because you're all looking about rhythm. When you talk about sleep, it's always about rhythm. I'm struggling with getting into this deep sleeps right now. I'm trying to figure out what is causing that. But two things. They say that morning light helps with the circadian rhythm, right? Because it's telling your brain, it's like your clock, your internal clock means that it's awake cycle. And then at night, not using the phones and the lights will take you into that deeper sleep. When you exercise in the morning, specifically in the morning, what happens is you get the body going. You say, hey, body, I need to be active now. And then that drives you in the night to be more relaxed. That's how it should work. So think about hunter-gatherers back in way back, right? First thing in the morning, that's where they need to think about hunting. To make sure I get my food this morning. They don't go for their, I'm going to go for my leisurely jog. That would reduce their energy system. So they think about their morning, I'm going to go. As soon as the sun rises, I'm out. I'm ready to energize myself. And then I catch my whatever prey. And then by the evening, I'm settling down. With the world we live in, especially in Dubai, for example, everything open till midnight means there's so much light all the time, especially when we go out and exercise at that time, got floodlights and everything. It can mess the rhythm. Yeah? It doesn't have to, but it can. If you're struggling with sleep and getting up always 2 hours, 3 hours, and you get up, you can't go back to sleep, maybe it's a good idea. Movement in the morning. Now, just before I know it's time, yeah? I'm just going to make sure that I give a little bit of tips that people can do. Okay, I've got 4 exercises, movements you guys can do with me. Now, this area of the body, I talked about being in this crunch position. It's probably the key one I always treat every single treatment, this area here. Yeah? And it's because we're sitting all day. Right? So one thing we need to realize is gravity is making us squished. So if we sit, we're just going to be fighting gravity all day. Right? So the idea is to get up and move. But if not, if you can't move, you've got pain, discomfort. For those who have this fair, they have pain and discomfort. They can't play paddle, for example. Then you can just use your arms, right? In a very 3-dimensional way. So I'm going to show a couple of things you guys can do if you like. Yeah. So just taking your arms and reaching it by lifting the spine, reaching it up towards the top of the ceiling. And then coming back down. Very simple. Then we're going to go to the side. So reaching it out to the side like you're reaching out to the side. And then you come back down again. And then reaching out to the other side. And coming back down again. And then you've got rotation. So if you just keep your hands in front of you and just rotate around the corner like this. And then rotate around the corner the other way.
That's a good structure.
Yeah? Now, just to make it a little bit more related to the breathing, you add breathing into this. So what I do is I just end up going out to the side. You're breathing into the side of the cage now. You're getting that diaphragm, moving. And then out to the other side. Really getting the diaphragm to open. And the last one is that rotation. And the other side. How many seconds? 10, 15, 20 seconds? You feel the blood flow? You already feel the movement. It's actually simple. You're going to do that anyway. If you sat here for a long time, you would have put your hands above your head. Yeah? And the last one I'm going to get you to help me with this one. Okay, last little thing, and then we can end. One of the things that helps with movement is play. So if you have kids, a very good thing to do is to play and to get this upper spine moving. And one of the good ways of doing that is actually to have, so we're going to move this chair. Let's move it out of the way here. Okay. These are for you guys who, the young people who are watching, you want a bit more of a strength kind of exercise. Okay. So I want you to do is I want you to come over here and you're going to just move the pen around however you want to move it. Okay. And I will reach it. And anyone at home, if you've got a friend next to you, a family member next to you, you can do this as well. So you're going to come up into like this press up position over here. So I'm and literally I'm going to follow the pen with my hand. So you tell me where you want to go. If you want to slow me down, you slow me down. If you want to move a little bit higher, you can.
Like a magnet.
And you can move it further away. Move further away. Reach through there. You might move underneath. And I'm just following this pen, and you make it a little faster if you want.
This can be fun with the kids, huh?
With the kids, we're just on the ground. And we're helping the body to be more safe. Bit of fun. You might be thinking, oh, you know what? I might get injured from this. What if I get injured from this? Okay, first of all, be sensible before you do this. But also, when you move like this and there's an external object to touch, actually what's happening is your body is able to adjust and adapt rather than thinking of a weight on you or doing something with heavy weights. That might do more of an injury. Right? So for those who are a little bit more active and want something a bit more strenuous to do, this is a good way of playing. And I did play with my kids that actually. Yeah, mess around with a little bit.
Super. So just to summarize before we move into the cool, thank you so much, Zainali. So we said stress, motility,
yes,
mobility,
yes,
good sleep.
good sleep. Nice.
I think before we move on, I had a question about when you're stressed, what are the kinds of movements that are not recommended?
It's part of my Kahoot.
Oh, is there?
Okay, so I don't want to like that. Now people are gonna get the answer.
Okay.
I'm gonna give something which is a little bit more subtle, so that when the answer comes, they can figure it out.
For sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
So when you're stressed, you're in the sympathetic nervous system overloaded, which is kind of your fight or flight system. So if you're standing at the edge of a cliff and it's fear, this is where the system comes in. So it's really fight or flight. What you need to do to get the less brain fog and more focus and be calmer is to go into the parasympathetics, which is the other nervous system that we have. Okay, that's kind of the resting and healing kind of system. So the exercise, to not give the answer too much, but the exercise is really, or the movement is really about bringing that sympathetic system down to the parasympathetic level. So that idea, I'm just giving that subtle idea. Down is the key. And that answer is going to come. Let's do that. But it's a very good question though, because people will think, okay, I'm stressed out. I'm just going to do this type of exercise. Again, not giving the answer. This type, and that's going to make me feel better. Maybe not. Maybe not.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Brother Zainali. Please don't go away.
No, I mean,
remain in our studio as now we move into the Kahoot. Yesterday we had an issue.
Yes.
Couldn't get on, but today we're back with Kahoot.
Yes, we are back, and it's fast as fingers. And I hope you guys remember everything Zainali has said, so that we can get on with it. We're going to give it a few seconds so that everyone can log in.
Yes, can you please log in and put in your exact name? The screen is probably showing the pin right now. Yeah, please use another device. Log in, put your actual name.
Yes.
We're going to be collecting the scores. Also, as we've been telling everyone, is we have the daily activities that we made for these days.
Yes, definitely, we do. We have the daily activities, and I hope everyone's doing them. And I think today was a 15-minute mindful walk, which is great timing because we spoke about movement. And so, Brother Shamal, did you do the 15-minute mindful walk?
Was it the mindful walk? That's the question we'll have to see.
That is the question, isn't it?
But yes, fantastic activities on that list. And please do attempt it. Do go for it, because in these 20 days, if you do these 20 things, you're at least on the path of achieving
trying
great.
to of trying to make it a habit of doing such things. And the stuff that has been put up has been scientifically proven to help with mental well-being. So please do try your best They're very small things and very easy to do. And yes, are we ready with the Kahoot?
Yeah, I think also what
Give
we'll
it.
say is that there are quite a few people watching together as a family. But remember that for Kahoot, you have to enter yourself. So we'll give it another 20 seconds before we begin. Please log in. Every person on their own device. Maybe in a family of five.
Maybe
Five
a
devices.
family.
5 winners. You never
Maybe
know.
a family of 12. You just never know.
Okay, I'll just say the pin for those who are just joining in right now. It's 156-7510. I think we'll give it 10 seconds.
Yes, and make sure you have the same name every day because that's how it will come up on the Kahoot.
Okay, I think we're ready to begin, Shazia. Let's kick it off with question number 1.
Question number 1. Are we ready? Question number 1 is, which of the following are benefits of moving regularly? A, improves sleep. B, improves digestion. C, improves memory and focus. D, all of the above.
Moving regularly.
Mm.
There's a lot of benefits of moving regularly, yeah?
Yeah, but which is it?
Okay, seconds to go.
And we're done. Yes, it was D, all of the above.
Fantastic. Question number 2. True or false? Make it easier for you. Our muscles and joints are like nuts and bolts, moving part by part. Is it true or is that false? There's no third answer. Is it true or false? Nuts and bolts. Interesting analogy. Huh?
Very.
All
10
right.
seconds.
Almost everyone answered that. Yeah.
Brilliant. Everyone knows.
True was the right answer.
False
Was
is
the
right.
incorrect answer. We had more people saying for true. False was the right answer.
They're interconnected.
Okay, and the third question. When we are stressed, which type of movements are not recommended? I think I asked this.
Yeah.
Slow and gentle. B is HIT, high intensity classes. C is team sports, or D, walking and light jogging. So which is it? Which types of movements are not recommended? We have very fast fingers. I know how it feels like.
Is it going to be faster? There's 3 seconds to go and not everyone's answered.
It's true. Yes, the right answer is HIT. High intensity classes are not recommended when we're stressed. Good job. Okay.
Okay, question number 4. Again, a true or false? Our diaphragm acts like the massager of the intestines. True or false? You know, interesting that Brother Zainali was talking about our paddle in the evening.
Okay.
But when I put up a poll
Yeah.
of when should we play in the morning or the evening,
Yeah.
he selected the evening.
Oh, okay. I think with our schedules, everything's so tight.
All right, true or false? Correct answer is true. Majority got that right. Absolutely good.
And we have our next question. Which is the best way to start being more consistent with movement? A is just start, B is make a plan, C is find a buddy, and D is make a written commitment to yourself. Which is the best way to start being more consistent with movement? And I think consistency is vital when it comes to basically anything and forming a habit, don't you think?
Which are you going to select?
If I were doing the Kahoot this time, the right answer. The right answer, which is make a written commitment to yourself.
Fantastic.
Well
That's
done.
5 done. The leaderboard is changing. And now we move on to question number 6. And this will be fast. What was the activity for day 2? Was it to go for a 10-minute jog? Something that even Brother Zainali said is very good. Sit in silence for 20 minutes. Was it go for a 15-minute mindful walk? Or was it read 5 pages of a book?
I think I had already given a clue before we started. I think I'm giving too many clues. I think no. That's why I feel for them.
Right, the correct answer is C. Fantastic.
Go for a 15-minute mindful walk.
All right, let's see the winners for day 2. Third place, Zara Juma. Second place, Muhammad Mujtaba.
And first place is, drum roll, Rosmin Wazir.
Well done,
Very well done.
Okay, and we move on straight into the Q&A. Yeah, so please, you have the YouTube comments section. Please put in your questions from Brother Zainali. He's here with us. We still have him. I think let's move into the Q&A, Sister Shaza. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of questions for Brother Zainali.
I think to kick us off, let me ask the first question.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So, we're talking about motility.
Yes.
Yeah, and the diet.
Yes.
What are the exercises or things we can do, or breathing exercises, to open up our diaphragm more? Apart from, you show these, fantastic. But if I'm in bed, for example, in the morning, and I want to open up my diaphragm, what are the breathing techniques?
Yeah, good question. So one thing is important is the diaphragm is not just any muscle in the body. It's not just one plane. It doesn't move in one plane. So it doesn't just go up and down. It also has to stretch in like side plane, which is why I did those exercises, and also rotational plane. That's how you get enough of that expansion to happen. But let's say you're lying in bed, so you don't have much space to do the hand reaches. So simple hands on the tummy, focusing on the hands, breathing out into the hands rather than the chest coming up first. So when you're breathing in, I don't know if the camera can kind of see, but you're breathing into your tummy first before this comes up. Okay, so you're just practicing, and sometimes you can really feel all of this tension in here. So you're kind of breathing into that. And then all you have to do is change your position slightly. So maybe place one leg over the other, right? And that will give you a bit of a stretch on one side. And move your hands to that one side. And again, you can even aid yourself with the hands. You just push a little bit to expand the rib cage on the one side and then switch to the other side. Okay, so you always think about expanding it in multiple planes. But simply just keeping your hands as a touch point. You can get a ball, tennis ball next to you, just keep it on the tummy. And just see if you can get the tennis ball to rise. It might fall off and you put it back on. You just kind of balance it if you like. But hands are easy. Easy, it gives you a touch point. You're breathing, just concentrate on breathing. Yeah. We breathe every day, but we just forget.
We don't forget. We don't realize how
we just forget. And it's a huge one for me, by the way, because I never realized how powerful breathing was. Yeah. That's why when people go to these breathing practices, meditation practices, these kind of things, now I realize every treatment, getting underneath here, every treatment, myself, breathing into the sides. I never used to think how important it is. Now I realize.
Okay, let me ask you another question.
Yes.
So we have seniors who are not able to move that much.
Yes.
Some of them even walking is a bit difficult in the morning. What can they do? I mean, they're sitting up. Yes, you showed these movements. If these are also difficult, what else can you do?
Yes, and this is the reason for my talk, actually. One of them was the fact that you got to see movement not just from muscles and joints. See it from all of these other aspects. Simple movement. I've used movement a lot. I've used exercise, and the title said fitness because it incorporating. But movement can happen in any way, shape, or form. It can be as simple, okay, I'm sitting here. Sit up tall. Simple. You didn't move much, but you lifted your body up. Use one hand. Just reach up. Simple. No pressure. No knees. But you get the same benefits, by the way. And all you can do to make it a little bit more, let's say, cardiovascular health, or you're looking at motion, mobility, change it up a little bit. So do things faster or slower. That's why I was getting you to do things faster or slower. Play with yourself. Play with like, let's say you have plates in front of you and you want to put them up into the shelf above. See how quickly you can do it. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So you got the table, you got everything. Obviously, that's a very important point, by the way. Make sure you have stability around you when you're doing any of these kind of things. You know, for example, you're pouring your kettle into your tea. You're having your tea. Okay, you can pour that. Move the glass a little bit to the right. Do a few squats, not big ones, just small, just little up and down, and then go and take your chai and drink it. It's simple things. Simple things. If your knees hurt, don't use leg exercises. Use upper body exercise. If your shoulders hurt, use leg exercise. Yeah, it's just about getting yourself moving. Getting yourself moving.
Yeah. And what about the gut? The gut. How is the gut linked to all of this together?
Movement, or you want me to go even deeper than movement?
The gut is a whole different
It's
topic,
a whole universe
isn't it? It is
inside
yes.
there. And interestingly, this is not a plug. Okay, it's not a plug. But there is a book that Sheikh Jafar and a commentary on there called Hayatul Tayyiba, where we talk about this stuff. The gut stuff. You can look into it. He references a lot of stuff from an Islamic medicine perspective, and I'm doing the science part of it. But one of the very interesting points is we say that the gut is the start of disease. Right? What to say? First sign of disease in your stomach. One of the hadith is that sign of disease coming from the stomach has been ancient. We've talked about it a lot in ancient times. What we're realizing now is it really is the start of a lot of issues, from leaky gut issues to the gut microbiome to how you digest food to the nutrient profile that you have in your body, all those chemical reactions that take place. And I mean, it's an absolute universe. So they're a loaded question, really. But really, if you've got a sign of your gut as an issue, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, reflux, that's the first thing you need to fix. If you have joint pain, secondary, fix the gut first. Yeah. Think of a child. When they first get ill, what do they first say to you? Daddy, I got tummy ache. Then they get flu. Then they get cold. Then they get cough. Start here. It's stomach, tummy, gut, everything in the intestines.
Yeah. I think even stress affects the gut first, and that's how you.
When you're just about to come and speak here, what happens?
Butterflies in the stomach.
Yeah, because there's a big mind-gut connection.
Definitely.
And actually, lots of communication from the gut to the brain.
Yeah.
This stuff in here, these guys, microbiome, they're talking to your brain. Serotonin is a happy molecule. Okay, 90% in the gut travels through the vagus nerve into the brain to make you feel better. Happens in the gut. So if the gut's not happy, brain's not happy. If the gut's not happy, your body's not happy. It starts here.
Okay. Yes, we have a few questions here. So does walking count as a workout, or do we actually need to exercise?
Depends what stage and level you are in your body. Right? But walking has so many benefits. There's some really good podcasts, by the way, on benefits of walking. Just walking, how it improves your overall health and wellness. It's amazing. Yes, so walking is 100% a workout. Every morning, 2 hours, 3 hours walk, some people do. It's gentle. If you get a buddy with you, even better, because now there's a social element to the exercise, even better. Or if you're just not even listening to anything and just observing nature, another huge benefit. So walking physically, yes, beneficial, but mentally beneficial, psychologically beneficial, gut health beneficial, and depends where you are. So if you it's 5-minute walk, because that's all you can do, fine. If you're more like young and athletic, you want to add some walking because that's important, but you maybe have to go and do some more physical activity. You really need to.
And do these activities and walking, for example, need to be mindful to help?
Need?
Yeah.
Let's not put need in anything, because then everyone gets a bit like needs to be.
Yeah.
100% beneficial, 100% beneficial. Mindful walking. You just had it. This is your thing, mindful walking.
Yeah.
It's something that's talked about, and I'm trying to understand it a little bit more now, but it's something that's huge right now in the industry. Thinking about not listening to anything, not talking to anyone, just being mindful that you are in the present moment walking right now. Nothing is focus on right now, which is walking. One step. You go into the mechanics of walking, it's phenomenal. What happens at your foot? connects to your knee, connects to your hip, connects to your spine. And that one step you take, all the chain reaction happens. You just have a little mindfulness of exactly what's happening when you're walking. You are centering yourself. You're bringing yourself in the present moment. You're focusing on your breathing. All the worries of life in the past, future thoughts that we have, now you're in present, which, you know, I was listening to Khalil Jafar recently. Present moment is a gift.
Yeah, it's a gift.
Future's mystery, past is history, present is a gift. So if you can be mindful when you're walking, 100%. Is it required, needed? No. You can walk still, right?
Yeah, you can.
That is very beneficial. 100%.
Okay, yeah.
One question above that was a very interesting one, and it sort of links to what I was talking about earlier on. That how do we know what exercise is right for our body type?
Good question. I think we've lost intuitiveness to our body, knowing how much is too much, how much is too little, and what is right for us. But there are a few key points. Okay, if you feel good after it, it's good for you. Yeah. If you feel like you're resting well after it, it's also good for you. If you notice that if you haven't done that exercise for 2 or 3 days and you're starting to get irritable, angry, frustrated in your life, and you do the exercise and suddenly you feel, you come back home and you're not a lot more lively with your kids, and your wife is saying, oh, you're actually, or the other way around, husband is saying, you're actually really calm and what's going on? And you say, oh, it's because I went to play paddle yesterday, right? You know it's right for you. You know it's right for you. And too much, that's the place where I think nowadays, for young people, we need to think about. That's when you're really stressed and you do those HIIT classes that we talked about, and it's too much because the symbolic system is so overloaded and you're trying to overload it even more. For them, sometimes you need a walk, right? I actually try to have a walk every week with my exercise routine. So I have a walk as well. Right? So you have to be a bit more intuitive in knowing what your body is capable of and feeling good with. But if you take those 3, are you feeling good with it? Do you feel restless if you haven't done it? And then how does your body feel? Is it too much? Is it less? These are good hit points to know whether you're enjoying it or not. You have to enjoy movement. You can't not enjoy it.
True, very true. We have a question. When it comes to positive affirmations, should we write the things down we need to work on, and eventually our brain will be able to change our thoughts and work on those specific things?
Yeah, I leave this to those guys who really know this area. From what I understand, to answer, put a little bit of light, I don't know, but what I've understand for myself is that when I write it, for some reason, that action of writing, I guess it's an external thing that I'm looking at and I'm writing it down. It makes a difference to my intention rather than saying, okay, I'm just going to think about it and say it to myself. Even saying it is good because it's, again, it's an external thing, but just trying to think, I think it goes back to this idea of you're using thoughts to try and manifest something, but actually trying to use thought, which is a tool. It needs to be put down. It's a hammer. You need to put down the thoughts. Again, clear draft. You need to put the thought down. So imagine I'm using the pen. I don't carry the pen all around with me. I write it and then I keep it down. When you write something or you verbalize something, it's like you're not necessarily having to think. You just, I will be more active. I will be more active. I am an active person. You're not using your thought too much. And for some reason, there's a lot of science, I guess, behind this. For some reason, it makes it more like manifested. You become that type of person. And you have to do it more regularly.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think writing it down makes a huge difference.
See, I actually invested in this thing, right? You can see on the table.
I like that.
Because it's a notebook. And writing something has a huge impact. For me, at least. But for others, it could be speaking out.
Yeah, I think it does, definitely.
Amazing, because just yesterday, again, I'm just trying to link all the talks that we have together. Yesterday, Brother Hussein shared about when you want something, talk to Allah and really say it every single day.
Yeah,
exactly what you're telling us in your affirmations. Put it down, believe in it, feel it, and let your body follow.
If we bring a religious perspective here, again, I'm talking not from a religious perspective, it's scholarly, but ultimately, if I want to move, if I want to achieve movement, if I want to achieve health, none of it is in my hands. Everything is in God's hand, in Allah's hands. The ability, right? The ability to get up from my salah, the ability to take a step, the ability to make an affirmation, to write it down with my hand. Everything is His. So if I just surrender sometimes to Him, talk to Him, allow Him to understand my goal, it will naturally, it'll naturally happen. I don't think I realized that enough, and I said that right now, and I think that's something we always need to remind ourselves. Yeah, surrendering to the one who makes it all happen.
I had one more question actually before we go on to the rest. Or can we see it? Yes. Okay. So there are types of movements that help people focus. Like, for example, when we are in a certain situation, you're nervous or you're stressed, or people like moving this. Or yesterday I was swiveling my chair, and without intentionally realizing, because it helps me focus. Why do these movements help these people, or like what are your thoughts on that?
I think these are coming from that overload of the sympathetic, the nervous system.
Yeah.
Sympathetic overload, which is a nervous signaling in the body, because it's a fear response. Okay, so you would be itching if you're on the edge of a cliff or there's a lion in front of you. You'd be itching, right?
Yeah.
You'd swivel, you'd do anything because you're like, oh, what do I do here, right? I'm gonna run away from the lion. I can't focus. You don't need blood to the brain at that point. You just need to run. You don't need blood to the digestive system. All you need is blood to rush to your hands, your feet, your legs, your muscle tissues, and get away from something. You run. Yeah. So I think a lot of the movements that you find you're twitching yourself, or some people do this with their leg, all the time, or they're playing with something. It's kind of it's a nervous switch, and what needs to happen is that system needs to be calmed. That's where breathing is something I mentioned. So breathing has always been mentioned in a lot of these things. Breathing will bring it down. So whatever exercise you're doing, you have to focus on your breathing. I see people in the gym bracing. You got to breathe. If you don't breathe, you don't get enough of that motion. You're playing a sport and you're just about to hit the ball and paddle. Take a breath. I know you're not going to concentrate on it, but you breathe in between your sets. Take a breath. See all these pros doing it, right? Before they serve, all that actions that these guys do in their shorts and whatever, it's all about settling the system so that when they get to the ball and they raise it up, their mind is now active. The blood is flowing, the neurotransmitters are flowing, the brain is now active, and it knows how to stay with memory and focus. It's called executive functions. If you want to improve your executive functions, you need to come into that slow, rhythmical thing. One of the things I've learned in the last 2 years, my teachers, my mother has told me every single day, slow down. Slow down. Yeah. When you slow down, you think you're doing nothing. Actually, you're doing everything, because when you slow down, all of your executive functions become more in tune. You can say that light enters your heart. You're more receptive to things outside of you. Mindfulness of walking is all about being more receptive outside. And if we can use movement to help us be more mindful, that will also help us to slow down. That's where the yoga and the Pilates concepts come in. That's where the meditation concepts come in. These are all part of that whole process.
Amazing. So even someone who's had experienced trauma, they're in a different space.
Yes.
I know we've talked about depression, talked about stress right now.
Yes.
They just have to get started. But how does someone like that change themselves to get themselves into yoga, into something that gets them moving, to improve their mental well-being? How can we?
I think I semi-answered it from what I understand, because obviously trauma has a lot of packaging to it, and you have to unpeel the layers, the onions of the trauma. And there's lots of ways nowadays, alhamdulillah, we have so much out there to help with these traumas. But if you look from a physical perspective, so we're talking about physical perspective, that layer, to peel that onion, that layer, it has to come from an internal commitment. So everybody wants to change from the trauma. They want to now feel better. And if you commit to feeling better, then you also commit to saying, well, I know one layer that I can peel that's easy for me, and that is just starting with 5-minute walks every single day. All the baggage of trauma, I understand it's there. I know it's very painful and it's very challenging. But one layer of the onion, which is going to help to peel all the rest of them, can be quite simple, like going for a walk. You can tell yourself, I have all this trauma in the past. It's very painful. It's very hurtful. I want to address these issues. They are being addressed, but I'm going to commit to 5 minutes of walking every single day, just to help me with that, addressing the first onion, the first layers.
Zainali, we can't thank you enough. I mean, we could go on and on. I
Yes.
could go on and on with you. But that's all we have time for today. But inshallah, the great thing is that we have you part of the well-being team.
Yes.
You know, and promise you we're going to have more events with Zainali right at the core.
Definitely.
Maybe I think you can get some movement events now, Zainali.
Inshallah.
Yeah, so
I mean, we definitely have a meditation session coming
Yes,
up.
we need that,
And
so
Brother
you-
Shaman, you have to be there for that. we have to commit. We have to commit to this.
I know it's difficult to commit. All of us have those challenges. But I guess if it's really important priority for you, then you commit.
We'll be there.
You commit. It's a priority.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Zainali. I think we've
Pleasure. Thank you so
come
much.
towards the end.
Yes.
And
of our session.
so, as we've been saying, we've got the daily activities schedule that we have, the calendar that we have. Please follow that, go through that, and do the exercises. Yeah.
Yes. Do we have the well-being activities
I think we can
poster?
put that
Yes,
up.
we can put it up.
And remind
And,
people about that.
Yes.
We'll also share it on the group today so you can see it again. But at that point also, let me take this opportunity to once again thank Dubai Jamaat for giving us this platform. Thank the well-being team of Dubai Jamaat for arranging all of this. Thanking our people behind there, the IT guys. Thanking obviously our speakers. And none of this is possible without all of you.
Yes.
You know?
Our audience, thank you for being there. Thank you for coming every day, signing up, doing the Kahoot, everything. We just want you to take away at least one thing, and so we can impact you in a very, very small way, and then that's our only intention. So thank you.
And now, Sister Shazi, I think every day we're going through a book review, yeah? So what book do we have
Yes.
today?
So today we have the book by Brené Brown, Braving the Wilderness, which is about the quest for true belonging and the courage to stand alone. So here's the excerpt from the book. Stop walking through the world looking for confirmation that you don't belong. You will always find it because you have made that your mission. Stop scouring people's faces for evidence that you're not enough. You will always find it because you have made that your goal. True belonging and self-worth are not goods. We don't negotiate their value with the world. The truth about who we are lives in our hearts. Our call to courage is to protect our wild heart against constant evaluation, especially our own.
Wow, beautiful, powerful, and just once you're reading this, I'm just thinking that it goes so well with this.
With our quote, which is our theme for the entire 20 days of the Wellbeing Challenge, which is a quote by Imam Ali, very beautiful one, which is, you presume you are a small entity, but within you is enfolded the entire universe. So yes, with that, we'll be signing out for
Come to
today.
end, and we thank you once again. We'll see you tomorrow at the same time. So,
Inshallah.
good night, God bless, and goodbye.
Thank you.